their mindset is thinking positive things. Oh man. Do you know that there's a saying and there's a stat that says 80% of our thoughts are negative and 90% are repetitive? Woo, I gotta say that again. 80% of our thoughts are negative and 90% are repetitive. That means 80% of the time we're thinking negative thoughts, and 90% of the time we're repeating the same thought. So we're repeating the same negative thought over and over again.
Let's go, let's grow.
My name is Carlos V. Spencer. What's going on, everybody? Glad to see you here. Those who are listening in as well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for liking, for subscribing, for sending your comments out our way, and thank you for sharing this information out. Watch this stuff over and over again. Past episodes that you've seen before or heard before, go back to them again. Listen to them over and over again. Bruce Lee said, "Fear not the man who's mastered 10,000 kicks, but fear the man who's mastered one kick 10,000 times." That means somebody who's practiced something over and over again, they usually get better at it. When I'm listening to stuff, which I currently am right now, I believe Joe Dispenza has a video. It's like a 20-minute video. I literally listen to that video 3 to 4 times a day. And I've been doing this probably almost 4 weeks. So I've listened to it so many times, but yet and still, I'm listening and hearing something I never heard before. I listened to it the 40th or 50th time, and I grabbed something that I never heard before. That's why you go back and listen to things over and over again, because you're grabbing something that you may have never heard before or never experienced before, or dare I say, you're a different person, so you're experiencing the information even different before. We're dealing with mindset today. This powerful clip, which I'm gonna go ahead and show here, it talks about the power of mindset. It talks about, I believe they were talking about tennis. They were talking about tennis, the sport, tennis. And the gentleman said, what's the difference between the top 5 athletes and the top 25 athletes? And it's very interesting to see what that difference is. But I'm gonna go ahead and take a second here. And let's play this. Let's listen
in Florida at a tennis academy. And what they looked at was, what is the difference between those tennis players that are top 5 in the world versus those that are top 25? Was it their diet? No. Was it their exercise? No. Was it when they started playing the game? No. Was it their coaching? No. What they actually found was this. The difference between the top 5 ranked people in the world and the others in the top 25 was their thinking. In the 10 to 15 seconds after a point had been scored in tennis, those athletes that thought positive things such as, I love this game, there's nowhere else I'd rather be, I may have not got that shot, but I'm going to get the next one. Watch this. Those athletes that thought positive, it slowed down their heart rate, slowed down their breathing rate, and across the entire competition, they were conserving a lot of energy. They were feeling better about them.
Like the difference between the top 5 and top 20. So he's saying there's 25 athletes who are the top 25 athletes. But then there are 5 athletes who are the top of those athletes. So when you get to the top 25, and he was talking about all of the best tennis players in the world, not just a certain country, but all the tennis players in the world. When you get to the top 25, everybody's great. I need you to really hear this. Everybody's great. Like everybody's phenomenal at what they do. But when you get to the top 25, like what separates the top 5 from the top 25? Like it's, at that point, it's not talent. At that point, it's not God-given ability. At that point, and I'm a ruffle some feathers by saying this, at that point, it's not even really the difference in work ethic, because you're talking about the top 25. So the top 25 probably have similar work ethic. Now they may have different workouts, they may have different approaches to it, but they have probably a similar work ethic. That means when you want to see the difference When you want to find out the difference between somebody who's great and the greatest of the great, you got to look at mindset. So when you look at this or when you hear this, you got to ask yourself the same question. If I want to be the greats or the great of the great, the greatest of the greats, or if I just want to be greater, you can just take something and learn something from the top athletes. Mindset has a lot more to do with this thing than we know or understand it. And I'm leaning more into it myself because yes, I'm a person who likes to work hard. Yes, I'm a person who likes to find out the right information. Yes, I'm a person who likes to have goals. But there's something to this mindset that a lot of us are missing. And a lot of us can learn from somebody who's in the top 25 and pushes themselves to the top 5. They're doing this by their mindset. And even specifically in this particular video of what we just listened in on, this one specifically, their mindset is thinking positive things. Oh, man. Do you know that there's a saying and there's a stat that says 80% of our thoughts are negative and 90% are repetitive? Whew, I gotta say that again. 80% of our thoughts are negative and 90% are repetitive. That means 80% of the time we're thinking negative thoughts. And 90% of the time, we're repeating the same thought. So we're repeating the same negative thought over and over again. And all this time, you thought that you're in the place that you're in because of something that you have done or have not done, a skill that you have or a skill that you lack, an opportunity that you don't have. And I'm here to tell you that some of those things do play a part, but I'm also here to tell you that the mindset is a space that we need to focus more on when we want to change things in our lives. I'm gonna watch this thing again myself because I want to see some changes in some areas of my life. And if I'm doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity. Now, on a subconscious level, I may be doing this thing over and over again. Consciously, I may not even know about it. But if I don't change the thoughts that I'm thinking, and those thoughts that I'm thinking on the surface level get into my subconscious level, because my subconscious level is the area where I'm thinking, and that's the area that's producing the results that are showing up in my life, then I need to change the thought process of my subconscious level, because that's why I'm in the space that I'm in, no matter what space that you're in. No matter if you're on a level that's beneath the level you're supposed to be on, that you feel you're the level that maybe you feel like I'm supposed to be on, or maybe you're operating at a high level, whatever level you're on, if you're trying to go to another level, the best way to try to get to that other level is to focus on the thoughts that you're thinking and to focus on your mind. One way you do that is feeding your mind different information. Another way you do that is by feeding your mind information over and over again. It's said that once we read a book, we retain 15% of the book. So you telling me if I read a book one time, I'm only keeping 15% of it? So that means not only do I need to learn and gain new information, that also means that I need to find out, that I need to go back and read that information again. Mindset has something to do with this thing. I've been fascinated by looking at track and field, USA track and field, actually the world track and field. I've been looking at the Olympics, and I've been looking at old videos that are showing old races, and I was looking at these top athletes, and I believe there's a special out right now called Sprinter. It's talking about the top athletes in the world. And once you see these top athletes in the world, I started paying attention that you would hear the coaches and the athletes themselves say at this point, when you reach this level, more of what you do is focusing on the mind that you have, the mindset, and the mind games that other people might be trying to play. I heard one coach even say, at this point, I'm not even trying to teach them to run faster. They're already fast. At this point, I'm trying to teach them things that they can do within their mind so that their ability will operate the way that it's supposed to operate, because their mind is thinking the thoughts that it should be thinking. I saw people who were the best and who were the top athletes who lost races. And I heard those athletes for myself say to themselves, I wasn't thinking right, or my mind was off. My mind just wasn't into it. I'm like, wait a minute, you was running a race. You were running a race. I'm like, wouldn't this have to do with your speed? Wouldn't this have to do with your start? Wouldn't this have to do with your stride? Now, all those things do play a part, but I am learning something and I want to give this over to you. I'm learning, and I learned by watching and by listening and by paying attention that your mind has way more to do with your results than most people think that it does. And when you study excellence and when you study greatness, they say success leaves clues. Success leaves breadcrumbs. When you study greatness, when you study success, it should teach you something. Even if you're not trying to do that specific thing that this successful person is doing, I've always said to myself, if you look at different people who are successful and you see the same thing show up, then you need to take something from that same thing. The video that we showed here talked about the top 5 athletes or the top 25. It talked about their mindset. I'm watching track and field, a whole different sport, and they're talking about at this level, it matters. The mindset is more than, I think one person said 90% of this is your mindset. I said, whoa. You have to start to find out how to increase your thoughts, the thoughts that you think, the way that you think positively, and you have to use your mind to gain success. Don't stop doing other things. Don't stop working hard. Don't stop surrounding yourself with the right people. Don't stop doing the right things. Don't stop doing any of those things. So don't miss what I'm saying. You're supposed to just drop. You ain't got to do nothing. No, you got to do those things as well. But pay attention to your mind. Pay attention to the thoughts that you think, and pay attention to other people who are successful, and see how they use their mind as well. My name is Carlos B. Spencer. I'm so glad you stopped in with me today. Your mindset definitely matters. Let's go. Let's grow. Let's get it.
Let's go.